May I have your attention? May I please have your attention? Super Sundays. Yeah, baby. We're back at it again. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's get it. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Sir Hill Speaks Super Sundays. I'm glad that you're here. I wanted to take a moment to tell you guys how much I appreciate you. We've been doing these shows for months now, and you guys have been showing up consistently as we take on and we tackle different challenges and different topics. So I appreciate it. But here's what we're trying to do going forward. We want to grow this audience to people who need to hear content like this. And so we need your help. How can you help us? That's a fantastic question. Be sure to make sure you hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell for all of the content that we have, particularly Super Sundays. All right, guys, sit back, relax, enjoy. Make sure you invite somebody to Sir Hill Speaks Super Sundays. We're getting ready to go in. We're going to have a good time. Happy Sunday, everybody. Let's get to the show.
Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast. Go deep, I OD on them. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 5 0 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast. Go deep, I OD on them. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 5 0 degrees on them. Countdown, levitate, going up, elevate. Watch me demonstrate, on time, never late. I grind, celebrate, no pump fake, hesitate. I've been scoring every day, champagne Perrier. Since 9-3, been in the box, now stepping up to home. Like straight out the sand lot, now I'm plotting on the globe. I work hard, I show love, that calm and steady grind. Got this far, I go hard, let God take control. I was starving skinny, now my weight up, got no energy for haters. See you trying, see you later. I'm shooting for the stars, need no laser beam, blowing like the greatest, but it's one who's always greater. Yo, go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OD on them. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 5 0 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OD on them. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 5 0 degrees on them. Smile good, skin clear. This here my year. Hey, look up here. This here my tier. Same fit 4 days. I grind 4 ways. I play no games. All me, no blame. On the wave, my own wave. Can't stop my shine. In the lane, my own lane. Can't stop my grind. 40 yard in the V12 and like 1.5. At 19, I cleared 19 in a month, no lie. Oh God. I was starving skinny, now my weight up, got no energy for haters. See you trying, see you later. I'm shooting for the stars, need no laser beam, blowing like the greatest, but it's one who's always greater. Yo, go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OD on them. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 5 0 degrees on them. 500 degrees. Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast, go deep, I OD on them. Apply pressure, put heat on them. Put that 5 0 degrees on them. 500 degrees.
Young niggas coming to you live from a place where nobody else know to take it. They hand out, they want us to split the pie, right? Cause they realize that we gone crazy. Yeah, I flipped my pie, really did that 180. Yeah, skirt. I flipped my pie, really did that 180. Young niggas coming to you live from a place where nobody else know to take it. They hand out, they want us to split the pie, right? Cause they realize that we gone crazy. Yeah, I flipped my pie, really did that 180. Yeah, skirt. I flipped my pie, really did that 180.
Who's that gon' tell me I can't do? Better be on time with my bankroll. Talk fat, no ball cat, no lit word. Routine like clockwork, my wrist word.
Let's go like that. I flourish the cook, got no roof on it. I'm taunting, I'm all in the moment. Everything lit, I don't miss. Tell someone get John on the line, say the invoice is coming. I'm thumbing through stacks of that cold ball. They egging me on, so I'm going off. I got them mad, I show off. They treating my life like it's no law. I never flex about my means. I spit the cream on my tribe, don't I? Don't bone me, don't know me, you not regime. To the one with the condom, my eye is on it. Yeah. I see you move through the base, they precaution, they snaking, they seeing me. Money tree, wake up the royalties. I got a queen, yeah, she go with me. She making me feel like I'm royalty. It's probably cause we royalty. I just got fresh with the golden piece. Shrug, show the emoji, okay. You know it's me, diamond soul, dancing, singing like Jodeci. 10 out of 10 every time till they notice me. What you thought I was supposed to be. Ain't nobody close to me. Granted, my hits touch the billboards, and they printing my face on the billboard. They envy my drip, I'm enlightened. You should let go of that hate, but you feel more. I make them rage every time they get flame when they hear what I say, coming straight from the source, yeah. I come a long way from the coast by the shore. My boy, I'm enjoying this. Young kids coming to you live from a place where nobody else know to take it. They hand up, they want us to split the pie, right? Cause they realize that we going crazy. Yeah, I flip my pie, really did that 180. Yeah. I flip my pie, really did that 180.
Who's that gon' tell me I can't do? Better be on time with my bankroll. Talk fat, no ball, can't
And now, your host, Sir Hill Speaks.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sir Hill Speaks Super Sunday. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Shout out to all the fantastic subscribers and moderators. Can't forget y'all. Without y'all, we probably wouldn't be here. So, that being said, as you may notice, I am not Sir Hill Speaks. I am Mandrill 211. Sir Hill Speaks, unfortunately, could not make it tonight. And we all send out all of our thoughts and prayers and heartfelt condolences to him and his family. And we all wish that they're doing well. So, that being said, please, if you like this content, subscribe to the page and hit that noti bell. Also, I myself have now started my own YouTube channel. It's called The Big Picture. Please support me if you can by going to the link in the chat and give me a subscription. Now, relationships in 2023, they suck. So, what is the ideal couple? That is the answer that we're looking for tonight. So, to help me figure out this puzzle, I have a few special guests. Let's bring them up. Lost in Translation, how's it going?
It's going good, sir. How are you today?
Man of Prestige.
What's going on,
Reckless
gentlemen?
Ray De Niro. And
Shout
Beautifully Animated
out.
Speaks
Hello.
is in the building. How y'all doing?
Pretty good. How you
Great.
doing?
I'm doing
Blessed
well.
and highly favored. Yeah.
Blessed and highly favored?
Yes, sir.
That's the
More
way to
favored
be.
than
Huh?
me? More favored than you? I'm just saying. So,
More than enough to go around. No worries.
yes, there is. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good to see you again, Ola.
Good to see you,
Good
man.
to see you. I love your
Yeah.
content, by the way. Keep that coming.
Thank you. Thank you. Where's Sahil?
Where's Sir Hill?
Don't
Sir Hill
worry.
is
No, man.
where
We don't
Sir
need
Hill
him.
is.
We don't
that's
need
right.
him.
You don't need
He's in the,
Sir
he's in the
Hill.
corner. He's in the corner. Let's just
Right.
leave him right there. Yeah.
Right. I've taken over the show. Okay.
Lovely. Love it. Yeah.
You'll be seeing more
You
of me.
kidnapped the show?
for tonight.
Kinda. No, and I'll be doing morning shows right here. Like, this is my channel now.
Love it.
Just saying. Get used to it. I told you I started my own channel, and here I am.
The big picture, right?
That's right, the big
I gotta
picture.
check that out. Yeah.
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 No content there yet, but it's coming. So, now, first question I have for you, you ladies and gentlemen. Well, lady and gentlemen. Is there an unfair stigma with mama's boy, that phrase?
Is it unfair?
What do you think? Let's start with Lost in Translation. Go.
I don't think so. Because normally what happens is that sometimes guys who look after their mom is something in them that makes them want to take care of somebody. So if your mom is somebody that's dear to your heart and you want to take care of it, then I don't see a problem with that. That's called honoring your mother and father. You know what I'm saying? All your days may be long. So I don't see no problem with that.
Okay, got it. Meta Prestige. I know you come from a different background. Okay, we got a video for that also. I want to play a video for this. Admin,
Hey, beautiful boss diva. This is Shay, your love diva, and can we please talk about the mama's boys for just 1 second? Ladies, if you are raising sons as a single mother, this is for you. For ladies who are dating these boy men, this is for you too. Because this is the most frustrating man to actually marry or to date. So when you see them, run the other direction. Mama's boys were overly coddled by their mother. Their mother, who maybe wasn't getting enough attention and affection from their father, or there was no man present in their life, they poured it all into their son. So their son meets an emotional need for that particular mother. But what they do is they block any space for another woman to get into that man's heart and make the other woman feel as if she's not good enough, in which she has to compete with the mother. Mothers, your job is to raise your son. After you do that, it's time for you to keep it moving. However, ladies, if you meet a guy who's still attached to his mom, there's no way that you can fix that.
Okay,
That sounds like somebody who don't want to put in the work, man.
right. Hence
That's
the
what it
question.
sounds like to me.
Here's that question. Okay, she's painted, being a mama's boy in a very negative light. So man of prestige. I know you come from a different culture, a continent full of culture, rich in it. So give us your point of view on the video and on the question as well. Is a mama's boy,
Yeah. Let me first of all say shout out to Sahil and shout out to the panel and everybody in the chat. I think what she's saying is a very subjective thing, right? It sounds like I need her to tell me the rest of the story. It sounds too personal, Yeah, that's my saying. Like, tell me the rest of the story. Because again, when you say somebody is a mama's boy, right? Somebody may observe that it's a mama's boy. Somebody may look at it and say, "Hey, I like the fact that he has a relationship with his mother." And everybody may be coming from a different background. I've seen people literally say, "I don't want to be with him if he still has a mother alive." Now, obviously, that's an extreme, but some people do say that. So that's the other extreme. The other extreme is that I need to see a relationship with his mother, right? So it's too subjective. I can tell you that mama's boy is a real thing, right? If a man does not understand leaving to cleave, then that's gonna be a problem in a marriage. If he doesn't understand that he needs to be a man and he has to run to mama for everything, that's gonna create problems. But in the same token, if he doesn't have any relationship with his mother, that can also spell out to be problems. So as usual, the ideal situation is somewhere in between, where you're able to manage all of these different energies, all these different relationships, with respect to a marriage, because marriage is nobody's mate. So that's basically your life. You're living there and you're trying to build life with that person. So everything has to be with respect to that, right? Without making mama feel like she's now some kind of underdog, or she's no longer needed or anything like that. And being able to manage the energy between your wife and your mother is another dynamic that it takes skills. In fact, sometimes you have to fall on your face, be in a messy mud first, before you realize that there's something you need to learn with regards to that dynamic. But I think social media, as usual, it's 2023, they all need to be careful with all these talking points. Mama's boy is now a curse word, but it's subjective. You gotta be careful when you listen to this stuff and ask people to tell you the rest of the story when they're saying these things. There's a reason why they can relate to what they're saying. Have them give you the context before you mix it up with your own stuff and say this is the absolute truth. Someone can look at me. I have a good relationship with my mother. Someone can look at me and say I'm a mama's boy without knowing me well enough, right? And some people will look at me and then compare me to my brother. I have a younger brother who is 3 years behind me. He might seem a lot closer to my mother than myself. But if you don't see all of that and you're making all of this conclusion, gentlemen especially, we need to slow down on the conclusions and the assumptions.
All right, thank you. Now, Reckless Ray De Niro, what say you, sir?
So I can see this from both sides of the line. On the one hand, yes, you should want to take care of your mother, but like using it as a pejorative in that light, the reason it has that connotation is because technically speaking, you should have broken away from your mother and ascended into manhood before you got with the chick that you're with or got your wife. Your mother should know her place. Is the gist of it, and it's not lording over you. Those of you who have not definitively broken that chain of command to where you're the leader, you're going to have problems. And the reason being is you didn't ascend into manhood. That shift never took place. There's a lot of men out there. We don't have a rite of passage in Western culture. There's a lot of men out there who are still, even though they have their own home, their own kingdom that they're developing, they're still under their mother's covering as far as what she thinks. They haven't done that proof of manhood. And until you have that piece, then yes, this is going to be a problem. She's going to see your wife as a threat because your mother's not in position and your mother is not under your covering. That is a fault of you as a man, in my opinion. Obviously, it's just an opinion. People can live their lives however they want. I never have had a problem with my mother when I bring a woman into my life, period, unless it's a character call out where it's like, hey, just heads up, I got your back, but like this one might not be it. And I look to her for that. But she's never questioned a decision that I've made. She's never questioned or been anything but loving to any woman that's come into my life, period. So I can't even relate to that because I would not be considered a mama's boy, but like she is part of the plan. She is under my covering. She does respect my decisions. Right or wrong, she'll let me fail. And she knows I'll get up and I'll do what's necessary because I have proven to her that I am a man. So that's my thoughts on it.
Nice. All right. Beautifully animated speaks.
Let's see. There's a difference between a mama's boy and being what you call was it filial to your parents, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching a lot of Chinese shows and whatever, man. And they bring up that word a lot, you know. But you can take care of your parents, your mother, and stuff like that without going to the extremes. If your mother is flat out disrespecting your woman, you're supposed to have your woman's back and nip it in bud straight at the beginning before a let's see before it becomes habit. You know what I'm saying? That's part of the reason why these guys have the problems because they don't nip it in the bud from the get-go. One example of it is the movie Monster-in-Law. Monster-in-Law, not mother. Monster.
That's a
you
thing?
beast. Yes.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You know,
Is that stupid J-Lo movie?
Yes, the J-Lo movie.
Oh, no wonder I didn't see it.
Whatever, man. She makes good movies.
No, she does
Sometimes.
not.
That was a good one.
I'll take your word for it. Now let's go to the chat.
Maybe because also, you know, it has Jane Fonda in there.
There you go. That's probably why it was a decent movie. If you see, you know what I'm saying? All right. From Snuggles668. What is the purpose of a man in a woman's life in the modern era? And are men and women equal? That's a decent question. And thank you for that $4.99 super chat. I don't know where the other cent went, but you know, every little bit helps, I guess.
Bro, you petty. That's the way it pops up, man. Leave them alone.
No, it depends on what you're doing it from, though. Because on my phone, it'll say $4.99. On the computer, it says $5.
There we go.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
So it's from the phone. Those are from the phone. Because I was about to say it says $4.99 for mine too, but it's the phone.
Okay, gotcha. Now, how about that question now? What's the purpose of a man in a woman's life? Because I've heard this question come up here recently in this particular corner of YouTube. You know, do women need men? You know, we had this question put on us at Black Men Unfiltered, and beautiful. We'll start with you. What's the purpose of a man in a woman's life, and are men and women equal?
I feel like I need and want a man in my life, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But to these independent women, at the very least, they would need them for companionship. At the very least, you know, I don't understand people who want to do the life alone. I don't know. To me, it's like they've been alone for so long, and now they're in a type of depression, and depression makes you want to be alone. So things just never get fixed.
Right on.
Yeah, that's my thoughts.
Right on. Reckless Ray.
Man, the purpose of a man in a woman's life is to provide leadership, covering, and logic. Women left to run things. I mean, you can look at the Black community and the state that it's in. It doesn't work. It doesn't work well. I mean, everybody was apparently miserable together and they separated, and then the women became warrior queens. And look at where we're at. Look at the conversations we're having. Look at the lack of getting anything accomplished that we've had, aside from women getting stuff for themselves, because women inherently are selfish. Like, it's just what it is. And that's not Black women, that's women, period. They do for self. That's their survival mechanism. They're not built to think beyond themselves. And so now we have a community that doesn't think beyond itself. Like, we've seen what happens when women are in charge. What civilizations do we have where women have been in charge that we talk about that didn't get wiped off the face of the planet? There isn't. It doesn't exist. We've got 5,000 years of us being on this planet. In no point in time, unless you've civilized society, do women get the privileges and the ability to say that they don't need a man. Period. Now, in the modern era, are men weak? Are women equal to men? No, but they're getting there because men are becoming weaker. It's not because women are becoming stronger. Men are becoming weaker. So, and at the point that we level that playing field out where women are equal to men, this is all over. Someone will come take all of this stuff. They're going to take everything. That's when you get conquered, because you can't fight back at that point. Because one of the things that women will never be equal to men at is combat. They're not as good at it. But if you whittle the men down and you get to a point where the women and the men are on equal footing and like they're the same, because I mean, you can look statistically right now, women's grip strength, that is something that's increased for them because they're doing more manual labor jobs. They're in the gym training. Men's grip strength is weakening. So at the point in time where we hit parity, where men and women are actually equal across the board, that civilization gets conquered, because it's not going to be hard for some men to show up. You don't even need a lot of them at that point, because if everyone's as strong as a woman, then there's nothing left to fight back. You just show up and take stuff.
Well, you know what I'm sorry. Let's finish.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you know what equalizes us on the battlefield is the gun.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
Look,
no, it doesn't. Because if inherently you're weaker, you can't fire high caliber weapons. Like, if I can carry a machine gun,
do it. Like, but I'm saying
you train to do it. But
right?
like, what?
Wait.
But what are the consequences of that?
Hold on.
Okay.
The guns,
Mm-hmm.
I feel, equalizes you, but how many women can pull the trigger? How many women can pull off not have your gun taken away from you?
Gotcha.
So it's still more to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's more to it, but I can tell you from personal experience and observation, Youth Leader Speaks, it's going to take about 300 years of constant training for women to evolve to the point where they can get to a proficient level.
But I'm just bringing you what women think. Oh, the gun makes us equals and stuff like that.
It doesn't, because and you could be on the range shooting fantastic.
Yeah,
completely different story when you're in a combat situation. Those nerves and those endorphins in your brain, and the stress hits you, it's over. Now, Ola, what do you think of this question here about the super chat?
So for me, I'll stick to the romantic aspect of things, because I think that's what most of us are dealing with. I think the rest of it is very, I don't know, it's specialties and stuff like that, guns and all that kind of stuff. Combat fighting lions, trying to get in the wood to eat. Yeah, I don't think we're dealing with that anymore. I think most people are trying to talk romantic stuff. What is the purpose of a man in a woman's life? I agree with Reckless in terms of the way I put it is that men are needed still in this social construct. I don't know about 50 years from now, but right now, men are needed for masculine energy in most of these relationships. And to me, what that means is safety, security, order, structure. That's what that means. So in that respect, I agree with Reckless. Even and I don't pay attention to what people say out of their mouth, men or women. I pay attention to their actions. Their actions still tells me that they want each other. Hence the bickering, hence the resentment that shows in the talking point. They still want each other, and I think that stems back to the natural order of things. Obviously, we need each other to procreate, right? So that's more than a handful of what a man can do in a woman's life, and maybe vice versa too. And majority of the people in my own circle still says they want a man, they need a man. Majority of the people that are the loudest on the internet on both sides are saying they don't need each other, and go figure, right? So, I think a man is still needed, a woman is still needed in each other's life. Sexual polarity is still a thing; it's needed. It's what makes the world go around. Romantic relationships are still a thing. They want it. They want it so bad they will fly across the river to go figure out the culture, to go figure out everything that life has to offer in those other areas, to figure this out. And then even if that means it cost them their whole life figuring things out, right? So I just think the purpose of a man, to answer the question, in a woman's life typically is masculine energy, order, structure, safety, security, a sense of it in particular, not necessarily physically, because I know somebody's about to tell me, well, call 911 too. No, a sense of it, just feeling safe, feeling like there's a man in the house is still a thing in 2023. I don't know about 50 years from now, but it's still a thing right now. And a man likes a woman in his corner, even if it's as simple as, that's my woman. Even if it's as simple as that. So for as long as we still have that as a thing for majority of people, we will continue to have this conversation, and I think that's more than enough of a mouthful for a purpose. Now, purpose has to come down to personal in reality. So I don't know. So if somebody tells me that they don't want a man or they don't want a woman, I choose to believe them, and I say okay. But we're having a general conversation right now. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They're all capping at the end of the day.
Right on.
Yeah.
Lost in translation.
The question is, what's the purpose of a man in a woman's life?
And are men and women equal?
I'm gonna start with the back end of the question first. No, they're not equal. We're built for different things for different reasons. Women can see things that we can't see, and we can see things that women can't see. That's the reason why we're better together. Now, here's my thing about what's the purpose of a man in a woman's life. Technically, it should be the other way around. What's the purpose of a woman in a man's life? And if you look at it in that manner, then women provide a host of things that actually helps a man's life. It adds the flavor to a man's life. You know what I mean? It's something about a woman in your life that actually adds something to your oomph to you as a man. You know what I'm saying? You kind of walk a little different. Right. You know what I mean? When your wife looks at you a certain way, you know what I mean? She feels a certain pride that this is my man. You know what I mean? She could have had anybody else, but she chose you. You see what I'm saying? For a reason. And you kind of don't want to let her down when it comes to stuff like that. So as a man, it makes you want to go out and do that little extra for her. Now, to answer the question, what's the purpose of a man in a woman's life? It's also covering, protection, guidance, wisdom, you know what I mean, nurturing, because as men, I don't know, you don't hear that in this space a lot, but men are supposed to nurture women. We're supposed to be the lovers in chief. You know what I mean? We're supposed to be the ones who lead the household in love and demonstrate it, starting with our wife. You see what I'm saying? And it trickles down from there. So basically what it is, a man is actually supposed to be the head person when it comes to dishing out love, you know what I mean, and understanding. Because if he does that, and if it starts from top down, then the order of the house is set. You know what I mean? If the husband talks to the woman with his wife with respect, then after that, the kids will actually talk to the mother with reverence and respect, and the order is set. You know what I mean? So my thing, that is the actual purpose, because it's real hard to usurp the authority of a man who leads with love. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to buck that. Normally what happens is sometimes people like to paint men in a light as if they're not an unfavorable light, as if they're not fit to lead. But a man who leads with love deserves to be held in high regard. So I think that is the main reason why men serve that particular purpose in a relationship, as to be the head lover in chief of the household.
All right, head lover and chief of the household. I
That's
heard
right.
that.
I bet you didn't hear that in these YouTube streets.
Chief.
No, I did not hear that in these YouTube streets, man. Not at all. Thank you for that. And let's see. I'm gonna do the super chat song. I'm gonna play this one.
That money clip us now, the new now looks like. Whoa, upgrade her diamonds, now her girlfriends are like. Whoa, 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 whoa. I hit recorded, drop you.
Dope.
Right on.
Right?
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah.
That's a good one.
That was dope.
Also, beautifully animated.
Mm-hmm.
Cap.
The thing you said about women and the guns. One more time.
Cap.
Yeah. Just wanted to put that out there and make sure we understand each other, right? Oh, okay, cool. Now we have another video to play for you guys.
Well, did y'all hear about that 19-year-old girl who got her gun snatched out?
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Admin video too, please.
Great question. I love it when the boys ask questions too. Taking on a daddy's girl is actually a benefit for any man. The reason being that a daddy's girl has developed a healthy relationship with men. Men signal safety, protection, and provision. So she has been built from within to love and respect men more naturally. She is more open, more receptive, less resistant, because she has had a man leading her, guiding her, protecting her, loving her. So when she comes to the table, when she comes into the relationship, she comes with a transferal of all of that affection she has for her husband, for her father, and she gives it naturally to her husband. A woman with no relationship with dad is a woman that is going to be very difficult to love.
All right, you heard it. You heard this woman. If we can call her that. So the question for me.
Oh man, in 2023, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I would leave that one alone. I'd rather not have to.
Damn.
I don't want to find it.
Hell no. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not. We'll put it this way: you ain't fooling me. Nope.
Exactly.
No, sir.
The question
Wow.
is, if mama's boy has a negative connotation, why is it that daddy's girl is a term of respect? You see, and you just had stuff. And the other question was like, are men and women equal? No. Not equal. So,
Obsession.
this question. Let's start with the missus of the panel. Beautiful Animated speaks. If mama's boy has such a negative connotation, mama's boy. Yeah, mama's boy, girl. I ain't got time for him. Then why is it, your daddy's girl? That's a term of respect. What's up with that? Why is this right for you and wrong for me? I love my mama.
Firstly,
and don't you not fool with me if I don't have a good relationship with my mama. Don't y'all say that?
There's
Don't
good
y'all think that's
Love it.
relationships. There's good relationships with your mama, and there's toxic relationships with your mama.
Right?
When outsiders can't come in to your and y'all have your own relationship because your parents are coming into your personal space, your personal romantic relationship. It's toxic. Um, as for daddy's girls and stuff like that, I'm a daddy's girl, but I've never heard of a daddy's girl not treating her man right.
Cap.
Um,
They coming for you
I
tonight.
said
Beautifully
I've never
animated.
heard of it. I've never heard of it, right? And the only thing as far as daddy's girl that I know of is the daughters are very protective of their fathers. So, I want to say in middle school, my dad got a girlfriend, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, how about who this woman?
Oh no.
How about who this woman?
Right. So
And so I had to like gradually get out of that protective mode, whatever. But other than that, it's never been a issue that cramps my relationship.
Mhm.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
yeah.
So you think that? So to answer the question, if "mama's boy" is a negative connotation, has a negative connotation, why is it daddy's girl is a good term?
But the thing
It's a term
is,
with good respect. Why?
it's the
Uh-huh.
action behind it.
What?
It's the action behind it.
Okay.
I've never
Explain.
seen I've never seen a daddy's girl treat her man like crap.
From the mountains, in a distant land, comes Capitry, straight from Mount Copernicus.
I love you, beautiful animated speaks. I do, but I'm just like, oh, okay, that one was me. I did that. Listen, I love you, I do, but I heard that was like,
And mama's boys have been seen treating their women like trash, allowing their mothers to treat their women like trash, not having the balls to speak up and stand toes down for their relationship if they really want that relationship. I mean, I don't understand the mama's voice because it's like you're not doing your mother. I hope you're not doing your mother. You know, this woman will give you, you know, you can get the cookies and she cooks for you.
We do not care.
Oh God.
So,
okay,
yes, there's
All
a
right,
difference based on the actions, not just based on hearsay.
Gotcha. So it's based on how
Seen
the
it
two
being,
people act.
yeah, I've
Gotcha.
seen it happen.
Now, Ray,
Mhm.
you heard what the lady had to say,
Yes.
and you heard what whoever that was on the video. You heard whatever pronoun
Whatever that
identified
was on the
as
video.
says.
Yes. Yeah.
What say you though?
Yeah. I mean, the reason that it's a woman who has a positive view of a man, I do agree with that. A daddy's girl is going to have a positive view. The caveat is you have to be able to provide the stability and the leadership that her father did because she's going to have standards. Those women also have standards.
Right.
Generally speaking, a woman who's quote unquote a daddy's girl, the reason that's beneficial is because she's already been basically kind of pre-groomed for you. like she's gonna have a certain level of respect and reverence coming in, and then you just have to live up to the expectation. Which means those are the same women who you do need to ask their fathers for permission to marry them, because that is going to be a handoff scenario. Because she's already been under a man's covering, he is now relinquishing that covering to you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I look at it as a positive. The reason of mama's boy is, and I said this in the chat, is a negative. And the reason it's not the same is because a mama's boy has a dependency on women. It's not a positive interaction. That is weakness. Weak men are dangerous. Weak men are not reliable.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason you want a woman to be dependent on a man. You do not want a man to be dependent on a woman. It doesn't work that way. He can't do what he needs to do when he's out competing for resources if he's dependent on every whim and nook and whim of the woman that he's with. Like sometimes you have to tell a woman, no, I have things to do. This has to be done. So
yeah,
that's the dichotomy of that scenario.
Right on.
But in most cases, it's dependency on the mother, because
Also, well, no, but it can transfer over.
Oh no,
it can transfer over.
I agree. It's just that it's mostly the mother that they're dependent on. That's why they have the issues with their women.
My mama said. My mama said. The man of prestige himself. Come on, brother. I mean, why is this uneven? Why is this right for her and wrong for me?
See, I have a theory and I have a question, right? The theory will probably be based on the answer of the question, right? Who coined, or what set of group of people coined the term daddy's girl, and what set of group of people coined the mama's boy? What types of people in general uses the phrase mama's boy or daddy's girl? Because we need to know what they mean, right? What they mean is what we need to be talking about, not the dictionary meaning. Because somebody's looking at the dictionary and say, what is daddy? What is girl? That's not what this conversation is about. It's about how it's used. How is it normally used? Daddy's girl. In what context is it normally used? When you say somebody say daddy's girl, right? Is that usually a compliment or otherwise, right? When you say somebody's the mama's boy, is that usually a compliment? I doubt that, So if it's not a compliment, what was the point of contention? That's what we need to be talking about, right? Mm-hmm. And I think we've kind of said it. We're talking about somebody that has dependency issues, somebody who does not know, a man who does not know how to get out from that covering and start creating covering for other people, right? That's problematic in our society today, right? If you're talking about daddy's girl, right, that can also carry negative connotation. But my question would be more towards that, because I haven't seen it being used that much in the same respect that they use mama's boy. When you say somebody is daddy's girl, it's not necessarily a compliment, but it's more like, are you a daddy's girl? That means you have good relationship with your father. It's not usually used as such a big negative thing like you would have a mama's boy, So that would be a big old question that I have, particularly to the daddy's girl part, because I don't see it being used quite a lot in this kind of conversations. The mama's boy carries a negative. Why would anybody wants to be mama's boy? There's nothing good about that from the way I've seen it being used. And I don't know why anybody will attempt to justify it, because I don't think any man wants to be mama's boy either. It's just weird,
Right. You're absolutely right about that. I think I've taken certain steps to not be one. Just speaking personally, because my mother, she used to be like, hey, what about just ask me all kinds of questions. And then as I got older, she started asking me, my late teens, she started asking me personal questions, and I wouldn't answer them.
Yeah.
I'm 17, 18. I knew full well it was time for me to stop doing that, because that's what they taught me to do.
Yeah.
They taught me to be a man, and soon enough, no one's going to be in your business. Keep your business to yourself as a man, blah, blah, blah. No, you're not going to know what's going on. You're not going to know everything about me. You're my mother. So, no. Anyway, lost in translation. Are you lost in translation?
Because let me just say this. Sorry, lost in translation. Mothers will attempt to help you lead if you don't know how to lead. And they will do it from that standpoint of they love you. So you can't really judge them exactly. They actually do love you.
Yeah.
But if you show up as a weak link, they're not going to tell you you're a weak link, because they're going to coddle you. They're going to attempt to help you lead. The same thing will happen in your home if you're a married man. And if she says, so what about your wife? Where was your wife last night? Like, what do you mean? That should be the question, right? That should be like, you should try to understand where is she coming from with that. Not like, oh yeah, she was there. Like, chill, relax. Why is your mother so quick to ask you all these different details about your household? You should start looking at yourself and be like, what is it about me that smells? Because she doesn't feel safe because she's a woman still. And now she's trying to help you get safe, and that's not going to work in this real world. Sorry.
Not a problem. Not a problem at all. Very insightful stuff. Now, lost in translation. You look lost in translation. You do. I mean,
here's my
There
thing.
we go.
Here's my thing. Whenever I hear something like that, I have to know why it's being asked. I'll give you an example. If a woman says, "Oh, you being a mama's boy," what I'm hearing is insecurity because she feels like she's not good enough, so she's going to shame the man out of not caring for his woman. If you're not bright enough to figure that out, then we're going to have a problem. Yeah, we're going to have a problem.
You hear that, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah.
Too
From that
stupid to be his
standpoint.
lady.
Yeah, from that standpoint, you're gonna have a problem. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna shame him. I'm gonna call him a mama's boy because he wants to take care of his mama. But here's the thing: it really comes down to the programming. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you an example, like the daddy's girl situation.
Yeah.
If the daddy has raised the daughter to be a wife, then that's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Now, if he's raised her to be a princess and not learn how to help her husband, then we're gonna have a problem. You see what I'm saying? So generally, when I'm talking to a young lady, I'm trying to get to the father first, because that's the guy I need to figure out exactly how he programmed her. You see what I'm saying? Did he teach her how to be a wife and how to be a helpmeet, or did he teach her, hey, I'm gonna just give you all the gifts of life and you have to do nothing and you have to sit down and rest in your femininity and all this other stuff and not actually be of service or be of help to the husband and the family? That's gonna be a whole problem. So the reason why you don't hear a negative connotation with daddy's girl is because guys are not trying to manipulate women into not loving or listening to their fathers. They're not interested in trying to change the narrative. It's, oh, you're just a daddy's girl. But at the same time, there's a good thing because the daddy is still there. You see what I'm saying? If you've ever dated a woman who's actually had daddy issues or anything like that, that's a whole problem right there in itself. Or if he hasn't really been in that person's life, she doesn't really have nothing to gauge what a husband is built on. You see what I'm saying? If Papa was a Rolling Stone, then how is she supposed to gauge that? If the mom hasn't had a husband or anybody like that around, it's kind of hard for her to figure that out. So how she's gonna learn how to be a wife if she doesn't have that template on what a husband looks like, and vice versa? You know what I'm saying? If say for instance, if the negative connotation for a mama's boy, if the daddy was never there to actually show what it's like for that boy's role to be as a husband, then he's just going to be coddled. You see what I'm saying? Like y'all talked about earlier, he's going to be a little prince. That's mama's little man. You know what I'm saying? He don't have to do nothing, and I'm going to fix his plate or whatever. And I think that speaks to what women have a concern about. Is this man going to be a husband, a king, or is he going to be a son or a prince? And I think that's the main gist of the question of who's actually asking the question and why, or are they going to benefit from the answer? You see what I'm saying? So it really depends on who's asking the question.
Who's asking?
Yep. And here's my thing. In order for you to figure that out, you need to get to the parents to figure out how they raised that person. Because 9 times out of 10, these people ain't gonna tell you that they all in love. They still hiding behind who they really are. So get to the family as quick as possible to see exactly how they were actually raised to speak to the opposite sex. Right. Do they actually hold the opposite sex in high regard, or do they talk down on them? You see what I'm saying? So that's my whole thing. It's who's asking the question and why.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And thank you for that.
Because I agree with you. Like so many words are misused. Or
right?
Because if anyone, any female got to know you, they wouldn't be calling you a mama's boy. You don't even carry yourself as one. Like, no. And most of the times when you do find a mama's boy, there is no father figure in his life at all. He's been around females all his life. He's been under his mama all his life. You know, I mean, yeah.
We do not care.
Actually, we do, because she's right about that.
Yeah.
Mama, the mama's boys that women are not attracted to are guys who were coddled by the mother. You know, and like Lost in Translation said, no, he don't have to do nothing. I'm gonna clean his room, make his bed, cook his food, and all this. You know, and the kid never learned basic chores or responsibilities, and just depends on the woman. Like I hear guys all the time, man, my lady came over here and cleaned my house up. Why does she have to? Like that was my question to him. Why did she have to? Why wasn't it clean when she got there? It's your place. You live there.
Yep.
So was it just you just sitting in nasty and filth? You know, before she got there? What?
You should
You know
ask
what I'm
what exactly did she
Yeah.
do? Did she clean the toilets, or did she bring flowers into the house just to freshen it up a little bit? That's a difference. You know what I'm saying? There's a huge difference.
Absolutely.
We're gonna do catch up on the super chat. What are you gonna say, beautiful animated?
Same for the daddy's girls, right? If they've been overly spoiled, there's a difference between being taken care of, being spoiled, and being a spoiled brat.
Right.
Spoiled brats don't know how to do nothing.
Bars.
Yep. And she's still a daddy's girl.
Because daddy has paid for her to be taken care of by maids, nannies, and different things like that. They don't even know how to cook for themselves.
Oh my God! Wow!
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I've seen those types. When I was working in law enforcement, I saw one come into jail. I'm just like,
but people tend to stay in but people tend to stay in the class that they're in. Like most of the time, if you're in a certain class, a certain echelon of life, then that covering as a daddy's girl, like I said before, you're expected to uphold that. You do not see women of means generally going to look for fry cooks. They're not in the same spaces. They're not getting access. Normally that father, if he's really made her that much of a daddy's girl, kind of has somebody in mind. We're joining families. We're moving this way. I've got somebody, I've got a group of men that you're going to be in this class to make sure that when I hand that covering off, yes, Lost in Translation, I'm in these circles, bro. They're not marrying fry cooks. They're marrying other people who are of the same ilk as they are. What are you talking about?
They supposed to. You're right. Because they use terms like, there's a gentleman we know named We Ain't Signing. He was on the panel with us. He was saying, well, see, yeah, that woman, she doesn't come from good stock. You know what I mean? And he was using phrases like that. People coming from good stock. He told one woman on the panel, you do not come from good stock.
No.
So that's how they speak, and that's what they look at it in those terms. Yeah, and because Ray is right, you're going to be in at least the same class, as her father was.
So if you've had maids, you're marrying into a situation where there's going to be maids, because you know what happens. That dude that you are going to be marrying also had maids. No one cleaned anything.
Right.
Like there's a person for that. Like.
This takes on a whole new effect when he's not really here.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We gotta move on.
Like, is he watching? Like,
yeah, he's watching.
He's probably watching. Yeah, he's probably watching.
I hadn't even seen that clip.
Right. Super chat. Rush says, Mandrill, I just subscribed to the Big Picture Salute. Salute to you, Rush. Thank you for the $5 super chat and for the subscription. Everyone else, follow suit. Subscribe to the Big Picture.
Yes, sir.
Just like Rush did. Snuggles, $1.99. Snuggles is a troll.
Love it.
1 cent off.
Snuggles is a legend in the streets.
Right.
I'm telling you.
What made
Snuggles? I love him.
What made the men weaker? Snuggles asked. I mean, as if you have to ask that question. That's kind of obvious. A lot.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
A lot made men weaker.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's
Is it just the Big Picture or Big Picture podcast?
I just put it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, it's a decent question, I say, for people who don't know. Lost in translation. What made the men weaker?
I don't think the men are weaker. I just think that they haven't been guided. I don't think that's not.
Oh yeah, hit him with another one.
From the mountains, in a distant land, comes Capitry, straight from Mount Copernicus.
All the way from the top of the mountain. You came from the top rope with that Capitry. You came from the top rope with that one.
Let me
I don't think the men are weaker. What?
Men are not weaker, man.
Let me say what he said in a different way as a question. It's a question now, right? If men are getting weaker, if that's a thing, is that a bad thing?
Yes.
Lost
From
in
Africa,
translation.
you should know.
Wait, did you ask if?
So I'm trying to move the goalpost.
I see.
So it's a bad thing. We need to address that and find out if this is a real Capitry or not. I really want to find out what he means by men are not getting weaker.
Well,
in that respect.
What Reckless Ray said, the men are weaker. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember he said that. I want to know what Lost in Translation meant by men are not getting weaker.
They're not.
Go ahead.
They're not getting weaker. My thing is they just need a little guidance, man. In this world, man, where you have to get it how you get it, and ain't nobody coddling you, and you have to get it out of the mud. Just because somebody says you're getting weaker doesn't necessarily make you weaker. There's some things.
Monster. Motherfucker squirt.
My thing is, there's some things that men
Legend.
Rest his soul.
There are some things that men go through that are so hard that they can't get out of the mud. They can't get out of them situations
here's my thing.
they're
It's
too
easy
weak to get out of them.
Listen, it's easy for us to get on these YouTube streets and say men are getting weaker, but I'm here to challenge that and ask you, how are they getting?
It's an epic hour of outrageous excuses.
How, Sway?
Said you ain't got the answers.
I'm not finna dump on the brothers. You ain't finna get me to dump on the brothers. No, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna have
that's the brand, man. I'm not finna do that.
I'm gonna have my foot square on their neck. Okay,
bro.
Listen.
Yes.
Well, I have guests, and I would like my guests to go. See, Reckless, man of Prestige is trying to figure out. He has a question. He's trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
He wanted Lost in Translation.
I'll be happy to answer it for him.
Lost in Translation.
Come on, man.
Lost in Translation somewhere.
Okay. So I'll be happy to answer for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so everybody on this panel came from somewhere. Some people hooked up, made you, and some people hooked up and made them. Allegedly. I mean, we could be in a simulation, so like we might just be logged in. But what I'm saying is we are told and we have backstories for our characters. Now, one of the things, just I can give a litany of answers, but like World War II, those men went and did what they did, and they came home and just went back to fucking work. Case in point. World War I, those men went and did what they did. Invention of the machine gun. They machine gunned so many people down that the bodies stopped falling because only one side had machine guns. It was terrible. And they were involved in trench warfare. This was when trench warfare stopped becoming trench warfare. Those men went back to work and just handled business. That was Tuesday. Mentally, we're not as strong as men. They keep telling us we need to take breaks. We need to rest. You need to go spend time with your family. You need to go do this. You got to be the best dad in the world. Don't worry about getting the bag or conquering anything. Stay at home. Be happy. We're focused on happiness. Nobody before us gave two shits about being happy. And all these conversations, we got to get to being happy. You got to be happy. You got to be like, no, you got to get to work and then you get to die. That's what you do as a man. Historically, we got more data that says that we go do stuff and then die than we do of any civilization laying around doing nothing.
So Ray, what you're telling
being
us
happy
is that our prime directive as men is to go to work and die.
To go do stuff? Like you got to be building something. Who lays around?
Ladies and gentlemen, this show just took a turn.
I mean, why is mental health only an issue in first world countries?
Because we can afford it. What do you mean?
Exactly. You know why? Because we're not doing stuff and dying like we're supposed to. Like,
maybe
it's not doing what you're.
Because maybe because the other countries are too broke. I don't know what the problem is, but
So
I know it's
there's-
America, so.
It's because if you've got to go do stuff and survive things and protect your resources and build stuff and be active, you literally don't have time. You know what happens to everyone who's depressed that lives in the bush? They get eaten by something, bro. Like, you don't have time to just sit around sad, pondering about how crappy your life is. Something will eat you. It will eat you. It will possibly have its way with you while it's eating you, bro. Like, the world is a harsh place.
All right.
So lost in translation. Does it help flesh out how many do we?
No, I'm gonna
We're babies.
We're first world babies.
No.
There's a couple of questions like that.
No. Because it's called the division of labor. Mandra, how would you like it if I came? You served in the military, right? What if I came to you and said, "You're soft, sir"?
Okay, cool.
Exactly.
Exactly. He's like,
here's my thing. You were designed to help and protect. That was your thing. You see what I'm saying? We had the division of labor. Just because you don't see Pookie and Ray Ray in the neighborhood going off to fight people doesn't mean that there are other people like Mandrell who actually do the protection.
But lost in translation, the thing that you're skipping over is the definition of a citizen. That is our job. That historically was our. What is a citizen? Look up the definition of what a citizen of a nation
How
state is.
many people actually do that? And if
That's not
the
the
case,
point.
if that's the
point
case,
is
then
you're
women
not-
would be citizens too, and we'd be required to fight. And
I mean,
be registered
technically
with
speaking,
selective
that's why they
service.
couldn't vote, because they're technically not supposed to be citizens.
Well, they can vote now, so they can pick up the
100%.
gun.
Hey, and you may be right, but what I'm saying is we've disheveled this off. That is weakening because they don't want this. You know how easy it is to control a populace that thinks like that? I'm not weak. I just don't do any of the stuff that men do. Very easy.
Yes.
It's by design. They don't want citizens. They don't want you to look at yourself as a citizen and have the responsibilities of a citizen, because then you'll be upset about the fact that while we're having this conversation right now, they're taking all of our money and sending billions of dollars to Ukraine, but we ain't got money to do anything within the infrastructures of our own cities to fix our own society, while they take it and give it away to everyone else, because as a citizen, you would care about those things.
What I'm saying,
but we don't
is
carry ourselves as such.
What I'm saying is that there are people who are protecting us, and I think we should give them a little bit more respect than what we're doing now. That's all
No,
I'm
we
saying.
give Mandrell respect. There are levels of protection, bro.
There are levels.
Mandrell gets respect, bro.
I've got a question. I've got a question with regards to this, right?
Go ahead.
So is it fair to measure strength of men in 2023 against men in 1943? Is that really a fair comparison? Because we're talking about strength, weakness right now, right?
Yeah.
Benchmark from one just to the other. I'm not sure if we can call that benchmark, right? Because you're measuring one right against the other. If we have a couple of them, right, then we could say this is the benchmark, right? We could say this is the baseline, right? So I'm not sure if that's a fair comparison, because I do think in other respect that men are getting weaker, and we're still in this context. And we're failing. Family is falling apart. In this context, we can talk about that, right? But with respect to measuring them against that time, I'm a little confused with that comparison there. I get it, but I'm like, you know what? Is that fair?
The example that I would give you is the Spartans. The only reason they got defeated was because they were engaged in some goofy stuff, and they stopped breeding. They were not weaker when they got toppled. A bunch of people still perished getting rid of them. That society from start to finish was strong as hell. People did not want to mess with them. They were like, are there few of them left? Send 10,000 people over there to go kill these dudes because we don't want to deal with them. They were savages till the end. Their lack of breeding is why they went down.
It was a combination of that and bad leadership. That last ruler of Sparta was an absolute turd. So
see, that basically speaks to what I just said earlier. We still got people, man.
We still got people.
There's not as many though.
Man.
We got Destinies out here with blue hair talking about what men are supposed to do with their lives.
I don't think you were
letting this
looking
woman
for the
get
blue
busted
hair
down.
people to get on the front line to protect you, are you?
Yeah, but
I don't think so.
they're growing exponentially. It's mostly them. Like, what are we talking
with
about?
these people, man. Let's be real. Nobody's breeding with these dudes.
Okay.
They,
Hold on. Okay,
they
fellas.
are though. They are.
But wait, Ray,
They're
so Ray,
recruiting in the schools.
Ray, sorry, because we're getting off topic. Okay, let's
Okay,
keep
sorry.
All right.
Sorry.
No problem. We have another video to play because this conversation can go on, right? And it's a good one.
It is.
Good one, but not tonight's show. So to keep it going, let's get to the next video.
Listen, this is going to be considered controversial, but it's going to help you elevate your dating and your relationship. So I'm going to go ahead and say it. All relationships are transactional. And if that makes you squirm and that makes you feel some type of way, you're either a man or you don't understand what the term transaction means. A transaction is just an exchange. And while that term has typically been associated with a monetary exchange, that's not all it means. We're in a constant state of transacting with one another, right? We do it through friendship. We do it through love, time, our physical bodies. That being said, we are all self-interested parties. That means we're trying to get the best deal possible. So we are in a constant state of bargaining, and that is either conscious or subconscious. Men do this at the highest level. They're trying to pay the lowest amount to get the most benefit, you being the most benefit. So sometimes they're going to push the boundaries to see if they could lower the price for the item. They do this by being disrespectful. They do this by being inconsistent, right? They just change it up to see how you're going to respond. The reason your response is so important is because it establishes a new baseline for what the price is to get access to you. So I need you to keep your standards high and keep the baseline of what it costs to get access to you even higher. Thank you.
All right, you heard it from her.
Those people are undefeated. Social media, Jesus Christ. Shut up.
I already know what Reckless Rage is going to be. No need. So, man, of Prestige, let's start with you, man.
Oh,
man. Are all relationships transactional in some way?
It depends on what lens you're looking at it from. I think looking at it from a lens of transactional is the beginning of the end. Mm-hmm. You might as well not do romantic relationships.
Yep.
It's not worth it. Save yourself. You deserve soft life all by yourself. Buy a dog, a cat, whatever you got to do, right?
Hey, Lord.
Yeah. I was trying to be nice, bro.
But
it's not worth it, right? What we see in what we see in a lot of these conversations is the endless competition with each other, man. Mm-hmm. So we bring in all kind of terminologies to justify it. You know, we use the Bible, we use anything we can find to justify the BS, man. The idea of a romantic relationship, the last thing on your mind is transactions.
Right. For me, anyway, that's not on not even on my radar.
Right. You fantasize about this idea with this person. You love them. They're in love with you, and you stay with them happily ever after. Yes, Hollywood. Yes, that's basically what it was, and what it still is, based off of the resentments that I'm hearing in this street. So I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, okay, let's look for a way to make ourselves feel better. You know, let's say transaction. Let's look for a way to say, hey, make me feel safer. I'm not taking the shorter end of the stick. Let's hold them accountable on all sides, right? Let's call it something that will make us feel better. But in reality, that's not really what you want. What you wanted is for someone to just give and give and give to you, and then in looking for that, you give and give and give, and you try to pour from empty cups too, and that doesn't work, right? So I get it. We're trying to bring everything down to exact science, so we call it things like transactional. It's never an exact science. It's I don't care how much of a data scientist you are. This is not the exact science. It's not gonna happen. Save yourself, okay? You're gonna fall in love with a person. It's gonna make absolutely no sense on paper. It's gonna make sense from an emotional standpoint because you're in love with this person, or an idea of a person who is duty, responsibility. We can use all the terminologies if you want, right? It's an idea, right? And then when real life happens, you're gonna get tested. You're going to start to feel like they're not giving as much as you're giving to them. Who is measuring what against what? Right? What is the benchmark? What is the baseline? The other person feels like they've been giving so much to you. You feel like you've been giving so much. It's your word against mine. So in this space of crisis, it should be transactional. I don't care what you say is transactional. No, you're in crisis. You need to talk to someone, right, so they can help you unpack what is going on. And it's never been equal. It will never be equal. It can feel equal. That's in that space of you're in love, right? It will never be equal because somebody right on the outside of that situation, that context, will look at you and may say, like, why are you accepting that from him? Or why are you accepting that from her? You should never accept. They know nothing about your relationship or what values you get at the emotional level, right? If it's significance, if it's security, if it's contribution, whatever theory of basic human needs you want to talk about, right? They don't know what you get from it, but they're going to judge from the outside and say, you're being a simp or you're being a pick-me, right? Why? Because we're actively obsessed with trying to bring this down to exact science. It will never happen. That's where the is transactional thing comes from, okay? At the end of the day, it is true. In reality, you're getting something from a person, a sense of something at an emotional level, maybe significance, maybe it's not something tangible, right? Maybe you feel different tomorrow. Today you feel like she's the best person in my life. Tomorrow you feel like, nah, she could step it up because you listen to a lame dude on the internet. Right? So I think when you say transactional, there's layers to it. I think if you're going into it, you're already thinking transactional. Slow down, stop. It's not going to work, right? If you're in it already and you start to think transactional, it's because something is lacking. There's a void. You feel some type of way. You feel like they're not reciprocating. That's okay too. But you need to talk about it and bringing it down to exact science. You're going to fail all the time because they probably already feel the same thing too. And now it's your word against mine. And then you as a whole man, you're arguing with a woman. That's never going to work either. You're going to lose 100% of the time. I yield.
Thank you very much. Now let's move on to Bass.
No, for the most part, I agree. Like in the definition of transactions, right? It's the give and take of something, right?
Mm.
So in that sense, yes, relationships can be transactional, but it's the way you move with it. Because I agree with man of prestige. I don't move in relationships, especially in a romantic one, um, with the goal in mind that we're being transactional. That's not on my mind. Um, Now, are transactions being made? Yes, I'm giving, he's giving, But yeah, I can't. People are talking about relationships or business and stuff like that. When you make it like when you make a relationship the same as you clocking in to work, what kind of relationship is that? It takes the love out of it.
It does. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have today. People don't love each other anymore.
Yeah.
People endure. That's the most depressing thing about this whole dating space, in my opinion. People don't love each other anymore. They endure each other.
Right.
And it is anyway, this ain't about me.
And she speaking on standards. It's okay to have standards as long as you're not being ridiculous with it.
Okay.
Some of these standards is like it's you don't really want nobody.
Exactly. You don't really want nobody. Exactly. Stop playing.
Okay, so
he has 6 foot. He has to have a six-pack abs and makes at least 6 figures a year. Okay, now the 6-figure job. You know how much time he has to devote to his profession to earn that. Then you want to have 6-pack abs, so that means he's in the gym quite often, right?
Right.
Regulating his diet. When does he have time for you?
Right.
You don't.
Right.
And she's still gonna want.
And then she'll be like, "I'm not happy."
Still want him to have time for
Right.
her. I mean, I'm with you on that one. You don't want a relationship.
And you know what? I learned that in in art class, right? When I was going to college, and we had presentation to do with artwork, and we had to put a price on it. Well, you still had to show your work, so you still had to put a price on it. If you didn't want your stuff being bought, you want to keep it, you put a ridiculously high price on your artwork. It's like, it's just to say that you were involved, you did it, right?
Yeah.
But you don't really want to give it to anybody. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. All right. My man lost in translation. Let's keep the locomotive going. This was rather self-explanatory. You heard the rest of the panel.
Yeah.
Now, what do you have to contribute to this one?
I think people look at things from a different standpoint. You ever heard of the term "keeping up with the Joneses"? You know where that comes from?
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah, that comes from looking over at your neighbor and seeing what they doing. You know what I mean? Trying to figure out what they're doing.
But if my lady at 10, yours doesn't have to be.
Well, here's the thing, it ain't about that. You know what I mean? And as far as this transactional thing is concerned, say for instance, Mrs. Robinson is looking over at Mrs. Jones' yard, and she sees that Mr. Jones has bought Mrs. Jones a brand new Mercedes Benz. And then Mrs. Robinson comes back to her husband and says, you know what? Mr. Robinson, Mr. Jones must really love Mrs. Jones. She bought her a brand new Mercedes Benz, and I think I deserve one too. Don't you love me as much as Mrs. Jones loves Mr. Jones? Well, here's the thing. On the outside, looking in, that's what it looks like. But on the inside, you don't know what Mrs. Jones is doing to help her husband to get him to the point where he's able to buy her the Mercedes Benz. They don't see Mrs. Jones doing the books. They don't see her staying up late at night, working, you know what I mean, fixing his lunch, running his bathwater, doing whatever it is he needs to do so he can be the best version of himself. And as a result of her hard work, he turns around and said, baby, you know what? Here's your car. You job well done. Here you go. Well, the problem is everybody is Mrs. Robinson. They're demanding something and then they didn't put in the work. You see what I'm saying? They're actually trying to guilt people out of the transaction when that's not how that works. See, Mr. Jones's situation came from love because you know what? Mrs. Jones showed him love and they worked together. You can't really say it's transactional if it's all staying in the same household. You know what I'm saying? When you became one. So technically, if you're taking care of your wife, you're taking care of yourself. And if you're taking care of yourself, you're taking care of your wife. You see what I'm saying? But the problem is the rest of the world are Mrs. Robinsons and they're not Mrs. Jones. And they're trying to guilt people or say that it's transactional when it's really not. They're trying to duplicate something that they have no understanding of what's going on next door. Facts. And that's basically the conundrum that we live today. We just say, well, my dad paid all the bills when da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But did you see what your mom did to help your dad get to that position?
Thank you.
All you saw was that your dad was giving your mom stuff. You know what I mean? So you're going to say, well, the key to a man love me, he has to give me stuff. And that's not how that works. And it comes out on these streets as if guys don't want to take care of the women. And when that's not it, men love taking care of women. They get off on that.
I like taking care of mine.
Right.
Yep.
So what they try to do is they try to shame men who can't do it or shame men who don't want to do it or just try to make this thing out of something totally what it's not. And my thing is, if you're not married to that particular person, then you really shouldn't be asking that person for anything. Do the work so you can get the reward. In that aspect, yes, it's transactional. But my thing is this: if you come together, then it's really not. You're just basically taking care of yourself and your household.
Right.
That's what it boils down to.
Right.
All right. Now next up,
you better
you read this, Ray?
Yeah. No, I haven't gone yet. I've been patiently waiting.
Yeah, I got it. Great. I was like, I already know what he's gonna say.
No, you don't. I think I'm gonna get you.
You might, Ray.
The first thing that I would say, and this is one of the things that was a pivot point for me in my existence as a person, was I stopped doing things with intention of getting something in return.
Amen.
And the reason I do this is because solve for the problem. If you're dealing with people and you're in a situation where you're dealing with people that are transactional, you take their weapons away.
Boom.
If it's transaction that they're going with, then if I function as somebody who just does things, I don't care about your end of it. I did it because I wanted to. And I can walk away from that at any point in time. Now I have no tie to the thing that I did. You can no longer use that as leverage against me as a transaction, because if I don't feel like doing it, I'm not going to. If I choose to do something, I'm choosing to. And I'm choosing to do that fully going, hey, I don't expect this back. Fine. I wanted to do it. So that way I don't have to be in situations where I feel like I've ever been taken advantage of. And like some people can look at that as simp behavior in some circumstances, but like I don't look at it that way because I don't care. I really don't. Like I wasn't going, oh, I went out to dinner with this woman because I was expecting to take her home and bang her. Like I wanted to go have dinner. I prefer to not sit by myself. You're nice to look at. Do you want to eat? And whatever happens from there happens from there. Now I'll tell you, I do have a high close rate. So that's not necessarily an issue, but I'm just saying it's because I'm not sitting there buying this dinner, salivating at the mouth, looking at this beautiful woman that sits across from me like a starving dog. That's how you end up in someone's phone as food. So that's the first thing. The second thing, and I want to go a little bit deeper, is that this whole transactional ideology that these people want to throw back and forth, most of you are not even functioning as human. You are a consumer. You are not a human being. You're a consuming being. You shout outs to World Class. He put me onto this and I thought about it and he's 100% right. People who function in the realm of transaction, you are not functioning on a human level, a cognitive level. You are functioning like a monkey that does things that wants a banana. Oh, I get the banana if I do this, I'm going to go do this. We're at the top of the food chain because of the cognitive function that we have. And to say that everything that you do is transactional, you have dumbed yourself down to the level of an animal or at best a subhuman.
Primates.
Basically that's how it doesn't even have to be primates. You can train a marsupial to do things transactionally. I mean, there's literally crows out there. You can feed crows pistachios. They love those things. And they'll bring you presents. They remember. Crows actually have more kindness in their little bird brains than most of these chicks out here talking about everything's transactional and I'm not doing this unless you get me this. That's not a way to be in the world if you want to be A, powerful, and B, in control. That means you have no control. Your control, the only control you have is getting that, whatever that transactional thing is. You're constantly led by the carrot. You're just being led around. You're easy to manipulate. If I know what your carrot is, I can give you your carrot one time to get what I want. I'm good. I'm going to move on from this. You're asked out in the scenario because I got plenty of carrots. You're putting yourselves in a position of where you think that you're winning and like you're functioning at such a low level of existence that it's no wonder that there's so many angry aunties out here in these chats. Because you're not living an actual human existence. You're living an existence that's you going from one thing to the next thing to who can give me this. You ain't even worried about getting protected. You just want the provision. You got women who are marrying for lifestyle, living horribly unhappy lives, but like, I got to have this view. I got to have someone provide me with this car. Or on the opposite side, other care, I'm going to be a strong, independent woman. I'm going to go out here and compete with men for resources till my mental acuity goes, and I got to be on drugs just to function in the world because I wanted to be out here with these crazy men that just don't sleep, don't get tired, don't take days off, and I wonder why I can't get promoted, and now there's a pay gap, even though I don't want to do the same jobs to get to the bag that these men are doing and put my life at risk. All of this is based on you just consuming things. You're just out here just consuming. You're not even a person. You are not people. And I'm sorry to tell y'all, you're not people. If that's the way that you're functioning in your life, you're someone that's easily manipulated. You have no idea what the hell's going on outside of this narrow purview that you're looking through to get to the next carrot. And that's how you get through your days. Like, I don't understand how most of you exist. That lifestyle is so pathetic to me that I'm like, I would be off a roof immediately. Highest bridge I could find. I'd be up out of here if that was my existence because it's that pathetic.
It is.
It's disgusting. It's beneath your potentials. It's beneath what you were made to do. There's no way you're fulfilling what God put you here for if you believe in a God. No way. That's the image that God had, was just a little greedy motherfucker running around here just consuming everything he can get his hands on? That's God's image? Really, though? But you want to sit up in the prosperity gospel and talk about how God's going to just give you stuff. You already consuming everything that God's put in front of you. He ain't giving you shit else. You're a terrible person, and as I've stated before, God hates you. So do I.
Thank you very much, Reckless Ray.
Oh, wow.
Ray. And
oh, wow.
Ladies and gentlemen,
oh, wow.
After that, I'm not sure what else is there to say about this one. So
listen, another way.
We're gonna go ahead and move on. I'd like to say this first. After we play the next clip, if anyone wants to join the conversation, we're gonna be dropping the link after we drop the next clip. So that everyone else,
really quickly,
join the conversation can join. What's up?
Another way they say this is give and take. And it sounds nice and sweet. I'm like, no, you're focused on the take. It's the take. Right. Stop talking about give and take. No, it's the take. You're focused on trying to take from me. Where sow your seed, you can't reap where you don't sow, man. And if you're sowing enough time and you feel like, move on to somebody else. Stop coming up with terminologies to bring things down to nice one, man. Reckless.
But hey,
that was reckless.
They want to take some Gucci and give you some lint.
Yeah, that's it. So
I mean, it's some coochie with lint on it.
Yeah. And on that note, let's move on to the next clip.
My goodness.
Next clip.
Wow. Marriage is a choice. It is not an obligation. Marriage is a choice to work, to love, to compromise, to support, to be there for each other. It is not an obligation to endure. It is not an obligation to sacrifice everything that you know for someone else, to put someone else's needs before yours. The sooner that you realize that your marriage is a choice and your happiness is a choice, the sooner that you will be able to break the cycles that came before us of people who stayed in marriages out of pure obligation.
Question number 4 of that is marriage is not about obligation and duty. Obligation leads to unhappiness. All right. Ray, I've learned my lesson. No, I've learned my lesson. I'm never leaving you last again. Okay.
Okay. Let's go.
I let them build up way too long. Yeah, I enjoyed every minute of it. I was like, I didn't realize he had this much to say, but all right. So Ray, first.
Fair enough. Okay, so here's the thing. She said that it's not obligation. We're breaking the cycle of everything that came before us. You know what this is, people? This is communism. Literally. Oh, so we're gonna stop doing what worked for 5,000 years. We got more data of this working than the experiment that we're doing right now. And even the experiment that we're doing right now, we're seeing that it doesn't work. Look at Chicago. Look at Detroit. Look at LA. Look at San Francisco. These places are about to not have stores or businesses. And then they're going to complain about a food desert. But apparently a bunch of selfish, happy-seeking single mothers and single individuals and pookies and imaginary fathers, apparently, because this is a community issue, is yielding this. We know what we're getting.
Do we?
What? Yeah, we do. I mean, anyone who look at the past 30 years, like, where are we at? We made a bunch of single parents,
but they said that,
and then we got a bunch of bad outcomes.
But they said that's okay, Ray.
No, I mean, sure it is. This is the thing, and I think it's okay too, as long as we get to build a wall around their communities, and then at our behest, we get to drop napalm into those communities and let everything burn to the ground. Then we salt the earth so that nothing else grows there. As a lesson to the rest of them, okay? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you're either on the team or you're out. We're cutting out the cancer. Okay. It's over.
Okay, cool.
You either get it or you don't. And if you don't get it, then like at some point we're gonna have to burn your house down. We're gonna have to leave that as a black mark on the planet forever. We're gonna put salt on it so grass don't even grow there. There won't be weeds on that plot of land ever. If this is what we're going to do, if we're going to set up a society that's based on do what thou wilt and let's just be happy, then what we're going to have is Rome. And me personally, I'm going to fly somewhere else. And while y'all are all bopping each other over the head and getting each other up out of here, I'm going to be chilling on a beach. And then when you're done, I'm going to come back. I'm going to buy everything up that I can. I'm not going to let you live there.
Ladies and gentlemen, this show just took another turn.
I'm sorry. I'm taking all the lefts.
That's all right. Yeah, and one right.
Like it's just ridiculous. We got to sit here and like broach all the trauma and the carnage and the pain. And the issue is y'all are making people, whole ass people that did not ask to be here. That's who pays for this. So there's no way y'all ain't going to hell because God loves the children. It's in the Bible. Y'all forcing them to be subjected to this.
Yeah, but so is all the hellfire and brimstone you talk about doing. That's in the Bible too.
100%. But you know, so I like to predate the Bible. So my favorite biblical character is actually Zarathustra, which is Jesus with flame powers, and he burned everything and let God sort it out. Like I'm just going one Jesus back. That's all I'm doing. I like Pyro Jesus. That's my personal favorite Jesus.
More cool. He does.
Yeah.
Super Saiyan.
Oh my God! Wow!
All right, let's move forward. Meta Prestige. You heard Ray. Newcomb, in other words. And so what you say?
Margin Boo Jesus.
Wow.
Let go of God sort him out. Okay.
Yeah.
Marriage is not about obligation and duty. Obligation leads to unhappiness. What do you think of that?
Yeah. There's nothing in life that's worthwhile that is not about obligation and duty. That's number one. There's nothing in life that's worthwhile that is not about obligation and duty. However, there's a lot of nuances to this. I would like her to tell me the rest of the story, like the rest of them. Okay, there's a story, the context that leads to some of these talking points. You know, I personally, I'm just not a fan of blanket statements, and I think it's destroying more relationships than ever before. Because people are taking this statements, once they can find one little angle they can relate with, they're copying, pasting it on their relationship. Marriage is also not just about obligation and duty. There are human beings inside of these marriages, and emotions are playing a part. Emotions are short term as well as long term. If we're talking long term, then you have to think beyond happiness. Right? If we're thinking short term, you got to understand that the short term builds up to the long terms, right? So if somehow somebody woke up one day and say they're not happy what's going on right now, your husband says he's not happy what's going on right now, you don't get to say you owe yourself happiness. I'm not responsible for that. That's not how that works. Okay? You are influential in their life, and the way you move around them or the things you do affect the state of their mind. And that can be described as happiness or sadness. And if you do enough of that, you will have a person that it's not capable of engaging obligation and duty in a marriage. And they will still be a good person, you will still be right, but you will end up in divorce court. So as men, especially, we need to start paying attention to the results we are creating. The talking points are not helping. Marriage is not about obligation or duty. It's a false statement on a general level by default, dead on arrival. Okay? Because it's not possible. You can't talk about marriage and not talk about people, you know. Obligation leads to unhappiness. That's not true. Obligation can lead to fulfillment. Fulfillment can become happiness, both short and long term. Can become a sense of significance, validation in our society amongst people. That's part of your social intelligence. So it's absolutely lame to discount obligation and discount outrightly without telling us the rest of the story. Where exactly are you coming from? Because we missed that in that conversation. The only thing you left me to have to assume who is talking. And if I would assume who is talking, I would avoid that all the way. If that was somebody you were vetting for marriage, once they start pushing too hard against obligation and duty, avoid that. It's not going to work. If they push too hard against happiness too, that's not going to work. That's a person that's just looking for exact science formulas for marriage and relationship. It's not going to work either. Are you?
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Bass. I'm going to keep calling you that. Not telling you why though. Anyway. What do you think? Marriage is not about obligation. It's not about obligation or duty. Obligation leads to unhappiness. What do you think of this?
Kame. Hame.
I've infected the panel. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm warning you, do not take another step toward me. See how they teach the children to treat their guests.
Wow.
Sarhe is wild in the back over there. He is.
That wasn't him. That was actually me. I did that.
That's
you.
Just rifling through Sir Hill Draw over there.
There's no difference
see what I can get.
with the youth today.
It really depends on where you're coming from. But lost. Yeah, and like you said, because the families put traditions and stuff like that. Marriage is an obligation. They flat out do arranged marriages and stuff, you know. So the continuation of the family growing is an obligation. Sometimes the younger generations take over the businesses. It's generational careers and wealth. But she's also right that because in the U.S., most marriages are by choice. They've chosen to marry this person. So it just goes both ways. It's facts on facts.
That's it? Okay. Lost in translation.
You know what, man? People love to try to have the thunder without the lightning. They want to try to have the thunder without the lightning, man.
Okay.
Look, here's my thing, man. What makes marriage so good is the commitment itself. You know what I mean? The I want to be here is what makes it so good. Now, here's the thing. The part that makes it more comfortable is that, hey, if you want to leave, it's going to cost you something, so you might as well get over it. You know what I'm saying? It kind of forces you to do the duty part when you don't feel like doing it. You know what I mean? I might not like my wife today, but I'm going to do it because I have to. You know what I mean? Until I, you know, get over it. And I'm back to doing it because I want to do it. So it's a part of it. Yes, there is some portion of the duty, but at some point it should be something in you that says, I want to do because I love this person. You see what I'm saying? It should be in there. After all, you did get down on one knee, sir. And you said that this is the woman for me, sir. You know what I mean? And then you said, yes, ma'am, I'm going to let you marry me, sir. You know what I mean? At some point, you have to honor the obligation. You know what I mean? But sometimes you're not always going to like your spouse all the time. But at the end of the day, you should at least love them enough. You know what I mean? To say, hey, I'm going to do for you even when I don't feel like it. You think about it. You go to work, you don't feel like it. So why not love your spouse when you don't feel like it? You know what I mean? It's the same thing. That's how I look at it. And a lot of people like to put, stipulations on things, but I always want to have the thunder without the lightning, man. You can't have the reward without the work. You know what I'm saying? You can't have the reaping without the sowing, man. It's a part of the game. It says so right on the box. You know what I mean? So you can't get out of a relationship what you don't put into it. That's called stealing. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, stop, thief! Come back, thief!
You can't do that, man. So at the end of the day, man, make sure that you take care of your spouse. You know what I mean? And if they're not taking care of you, talk to them about it and say, hey, look, I'm feeling kind of slighted here. You know, could you tell me what's going on? And work it out that way. But at the end of the day, yes, it's a part of it and you can't get out of it. But that's the best part about marriage. You know what I'm saying? The hey, I'm gonna be here until the end of the road.
All right, thank you very much. And while we have a second to breathe, everybody breathe, take a few deep breaths.
I apologize. That was Man of Prestige, y'all.
Okay.
You're good.
Take another one. Now, I'd like to welcome our two new guests, Scam Likely and Sean. Welcome, gentlemen. Okay.
What up, Scam? What up, Sean?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Salute, brothers.
Doing all right. Doing all right. We're going to start with Scam.
Microphone working?
Yeah, we got you, man.
Yeah, kind of. Go ahead.
No, not a real.
What do you have? What do you have on the topic? What do you have on the video you saw? Marriage is not about obligation and duty. Obligation leads to unhappiness. Now, you and I've had conversations about this before. I'm curious what you think about.
I think it's very scam likely. It's a lie. People in 1936 are gonna come back and tell you, y'all didn't marry like we did. It was about the duty and obligation. Yeah, because they ain't had no choice. So yeah, you can wave duty around because the woman couldn't go nowhere. And then go tell the young people now, knowing that the front door is wide open every given day. Like, why would you tell people that? Tell a woman it's about duty, knowing she can leave at any given time. Tell a man, marry a woman and it's based on duty. And at any given time, they can walk out the front door and never come back. And most people aren't taught relationship skills anyway. So that's the default, is to be single or to run around with your head cut off. The older generation are the ones who cut it off. It's a lie. If you don't create the right environment where the woman is flying up and down the interstate to get to you, one day she's going to walk out and not come back. If you're overdosed on talking points, protect and provide, yeah, she don't need you for that. Let's be real. Just like the gender war topics y'all were talking about earlier. That's nothing but the very reasons why they're leaving. They come home now, it's competing with the man and the woman. I'm the man, I'm the woman, I'm the man, the women. Beating each other over the head. They don't even like each other. Like, how about teaching some real relationship skills? How about showing why and making the environment to where they don't want to leave? And of course, somebody's going to come with it. Well, they're just leaving because they're unhappy for one day. No, they're not. They're leaving because they don't ever want to come back to that place where that man is, ever. And they probably shouldn't have been there to begin with. Or they're leaving, and some people don't, some people tried their best, but some dudes tried to create the environment, but somehow they didn't. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. It's dust. And
if people don't like it, if you're being yourself, fuck them.
All right.
Hey, no son had that one in the chamber.
Yeah, he does. He's got quite a few of them back here. Now, Sean.
What up?
You and I've had conversations as well, man. What do you think?
Oh man, first off, duty and obligation is similar to work and accountability. It's necessary in all things that are successful. Leaving, unfortunately, because of choice, is too easy nowadays. There are no consequences to leaving. It's just that, I get a feather up my ass, I want to leave. Okay. Unfortunately, the reality is that we have opened up opportunities for that to be acceptable, whereas it hasn't been in the past. And not that I'm dwelling on the past, to Scam Likely's point, but the point is that unless there's some type of consequence for unaccountability, we will continue that cycle. And I just think that the cycle needs to really start with understanding that you want the privileges, but you don't want the responsibility. And until we understand that you just want to have these privileges of this relationship when it's convenient, but you don't want to work towards or put in the effort to the responsibility necessary to sustain it, that's why it fails. So to everybody's point, yeah, you do have to create an environment that is likely, but also understand the reality that the environment won't always stay that way. Environment is temperamental. And until you understand that through those temperaments, that you still have to stay consistent and vow to stay consistent and live up to the vow that you have taken, we will continue to fail and the cycle will continue.
We do not care.
Actually, we do. Now, thank you for that, Sean. Appreciate it. Everybody gives Black David a shout out for his job in engineering.
Shout out, props, David.
Yeah, his off timing and sometimes ill-advised places he plays.
Cap.
And also, everybody, I do have just announced. I do have a new YouTube channel that I've started. It's called The Big Picture. I left a link for you in the chat. Please go over there, like and subscribe, and all that jazz. All right, last one. We're gonna do a speed round here. Okay. We got one more. I think we got one more video to play. Let's get to that.
I'm terrified of picking the wrong partner in life. I feel like it's a make or break decision. And I'm wondering how each of you knew.
When that person is just there for you, that counts for a lot. Always there. And when it's easy.
Oh gosh. It was my gut. It's like, don't mess this up. It's literally that. Like, don't mess this up. Cause he was just, he was so ready to share his world with me. Like, I love my mother, God rest her soul, but our relationship was so tumultuous. And I remember because he and I talked about so many different things, when he looked at me and he said, oh, I'll share my mom with you. Like, you can call her mom, it's cool. I was like, oh, this man wants to share his world with me. Like, how dope.
That's so beautiful.
He was just so sweet and honest.
I'll share my mom with you.
Yeah, and when I tell you, like, you know, the top of the phone, like where it's like your most important people, it's me and his mother. I will share space with that woman. She is just the sweetest, just candy and sugar and maple syrup and everything wonderful all day long.
You don't always hear that in terms of relationships with your mother-in-law. That's really special.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the primary question of tonight's broadcast. Is Kelly Rowland the unsung example of a wife in modern times?
Wow.
Is Kelly Rowland the unsung example of a wife in modern times? Let that marinate and bounce around your noggin for a minute. Lost in translation.
Wow.
Are they the ideal couple? Because, I mean, look at the two of them. You know what I mean? I mean, so, some people would say that she's an attractive woman, but, I mean, that guy there, I mean, what is that? Anyway,
well, damn, Mandrell.
It looked like she got married to Scam. I was about to say Scam got married, bro. I didn't realize.
Yeah, right. To Kelly Rowland of all people.
What you up here complaining about, bro?
Yeah, how'd you sneak that in there?
No, he's uglier than me. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm only ugly on the weekends.
Hey.
Lost in translation.
You know what? Here's my whole thing, man.
How?
At the beginning of the show, we talked about mama's boys and all this other stuff, but clearly this man is willing to share his mom with his wife and say, hey, look, I know your mom's relationship weren't, the best.
Cheeky, man. I mean,
you know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, you can borrow my mom too, if you need some love. Let me tell you something, men don't always share their mamas. So when a man's willing to do that, he's invested. You know what I'm saying? He's bringing you into the family, into the fold. And for her to appreciate the fact that he did that speaks to how she is as a person. You know what I mean? And the gratitude that she felt that he actually went out his way and say, you know what? you know what, he really cares about me and my well-being. He knows that his mom is nice and she's going to be nice to him, and he wants her to feel that same thing too. So, and my thing is, I think that she is a good example of what a wife is when she appreciates what her husband does. In this case, her man at that time. But I really do appreciate the fact that he even came out and said that. He basically made it safe for her to feel something, you know what I mean, for him and for his family. He said, "Look, I'm gonna take care of you. You know what I mean? You ain't got to worry about being out here in these streets or whatever. Yeah, I know you got money or whatever, but how's your heart doing? You know what I mean? I might not be able to give you everything, but maybe you can borrow something, you know, from somebody else like my mom who taught me a few things." You know what I mean? I thought that was kind of dope that he did that, and she didn't look at it as a negative, saying, "Oh, he's a mama's boy, this, that, and the other, whatever." She looked at it as if it was a gift, you know what I mean, that he gave to her. So I thought that was pretty dope. I think they're a pretty cool couple in my opinion.
Right. And Mandrill, what was your question? Is Kelly Rowland
the unsung example of a wife in modern times?
She is the
like unsung because you
no,
what?
I hear what you're saying. She's the unfound example of a modern wife, because what she values is unfortunately not what many people value, or when many women value. And that's why I would say she's unfound. She's unfounded. There's not too many people like her. And I commend her ability to understand that and value those things, value those qualities, value those characteristics. I once saw her and Nicki Minaj. I tell this story sometimes, side by side on an airplane. I was sitting behind both of them. And in just observation, I was able to tell her appreciation for character and details as opposed to Nicki Minaj, to where I came up with the saying that Nicki Minaj was, from that example, somebody I would want for a night, and Kelly Rowland was somebody who I would want for a wife. Don't know either of them. Only thing that I said to both of them was, continue blessings with your career. And the response alone showed me the value of their character.
Nice. Man of prestige.
All right. I agree with both of the gentlemen that spoke earlier, except this one thing. Okay. Unsung, yes. Unfound, yes. That they don't exist. They do. They're all over the place. It just depends on where you are in real life, outside of the internet. I would argue, I would bet my monthly livelihood on it, that majority of people are still like this. They can appreciate stuff like this. But I would also agree that we need to start checking this stuff, because again, these are the influential people that are the loudest on the internet, and they are influencing people, and we should keep having this conversation. You know, ideal, yes, because it's paper, it's picture. Okay, I don't know them like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All we got to go on is the videos or pictures that we see.
That's it.
And what they say on camera.
Yeah, but we know from what she said, to be fair to her, people are not really that good at acting. She said something that's worth celebrating. You know, that a woman in 2023 can be on the internet, on a podcast like that, clean, and they're saying that somebody can look at that and be inspired and say, you know what, that's a big deal, that I have a mother-in-law that I can actually value in that way, or value a man in that way, or value a woman in that way. I like to say it that way, because the issues are on all sides as far as I'm concerned. So in the modern times, the other thing I will add to this is that the modern times is the modern times, man. It is what it is. We need to learn how to deal with this. We need to know how to make the most out of this. If you know the parables of the talents, if you don't know how to make the most out of the cards you're dealt, I'm not sure you can really blame anything else outside of self. You know, and that's what I'm hearing a lot. Modern times, but we use that in negative connotation. I'm like, listen, we're all modern people. You have to learn how to make the most out of what we're dealing with, So is Kelly Rowland the unsung example of a wife in modern times? Yes, from what we've seen right now in this one little 3-frame picture on a phone. Yes, but I would just say it's ideal in real life. Ideal will not be happening. You can strive towards it, right? You can have a very good situation. You can have a life that's overall. You can say, "I'm happy." The word that we resent the most on this platform, right?
Yeah.
So, but you can have that. It's very possible, and that's going to be a function of yourself and your outlook on life. What kind of videos you consume, what kind of platforms you're hanging out in, right? That creates your outlook, right? Faith coming by hearing, right? You will attract what you fear the most. I yield.
Thank you very much.
Wow. Can I just throw in real quickly? Did y'all notice that there were 2 people who said something in that video, but we are only acknowledging and responding to one? There's a reason for that.
Yeah, good point.
Yep.
Scam likely.
Good news for once is she was at least a pretty woman who was actually being friendly and saying something good. But afraid to have some bad news, people. This is only a setup. 3 weeks from now, she's gonna be wearing that damn dress. You know which one I'm talking about. You know what's coming.
He rolled the dice. He rolled the dice.
You know it's coming. And then the Gloom Doom Mafia, I'm telling you, it's coming. Then as soon as you click on YouTube, whoa, the dress. Then 5 panels. Did you let your wife wear that dress? You a big simp. Russell Wilson. Kiki Palmer. Russell Wilson. Kiki Palmer. I'm telling you, it's coming.
Oh,
that's how it works.
Oh my goodness.
I hate to bust your bubble.
County is how it works. All right.
This is the doom part.
That is the doom and gloom. I mean,
when
when a woman wears a dress that's a bit too revealing, or something absolutely outrageous like Kiki Palmer did. Come on, everybody! Every single one of y'all know that dress is way too much. Let's be real. So, I mean, but then if Kelly Rowland does that, all the praise and adoration we're giving her now, we can be like, would you let your wife wear that dress? I can't believe she did it. She's a whore, a harlot. You'd be hearing it from everywhere.
Oh,
man. Am I right, Sean? They be screaming at
man, I agree.
All platforms you look at.
Y'all know it's coming.
Agree. I agree.
I don't think so.
Here's what my response
I don't think so, because she would have been wore that dress already.
And
exactly. It's coming. September.
Well, here's what it is. If she's wearing that dress like Kiki Palmer, she's in search of something that her insecurity or her low self-esteem has diminished. So if she does, that will be where I would go. Like, what happened to where she's now feeling insecure or her self-esteem is low?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, Reckless Ray.
She's gonna do it before election night.
Wow. He even got a time frame. You want to go now or you want to go last?
No, I'll go ahead and go now because I'm gonna do what I gotta do either way. I'm reckless wherever I'm at. You sandwich me in the middle, you put me in the front. That's what it is. You're gonna get what you're gonna get, and you're gonna like it. But all right, pause. But do I think? Yes, I'm agreeing. She is the model. That is who people should be looking to. Someone who's actually happy in the relationship. She's not out here making songs about how her man ain't ish and she gonna do whatever she want to do.
Did you say
she seems happy? She seems happy. Women get to be happy. Scam, you don't. Okay, so as I was saying, yeah. Sorry, you wasn't built for happiness. It ain't in your DNA, bro. Like, it's cool. You're gonna come back around. Get out there and build something. But
no.
When he said no.
The thing is, she owes Beyonce's father a debt of gratitude for putting her overseas so that she couldn't compete with Beyonce to be the queen of music in the United States, because she very well could have dethroned her, and her father knew that. So he put her outside of the United States and away from all of the cancer of our society. Now, his daughter getting the clout that she did not escape the cancer of our society. Kelly Rowland did. So who actually won that transaction? Everybody's like, oh, Kelly Rowland got done wrong. I think Kelly Rowland had some sort of special covering on her to where she was navigated to where she needed to be to have a good life. And I believe that she is existing and having a good existence and a good life. I don't believe that we'll see her in a Keke Palmer dress, because she respects the man that she's with.
Right.
Because she values the man that she's with. Because she's on board with the man that she's with.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about Kelly. I think that we're not going to have as many people talking about Kelly Rowland as we should, because unfortunately, with the trash culture that we have, they don't care about that. That doesn't sell. We don't want to talk about who's doing things right. We don't want to talk about how you can make a relationship work and be fruitful with it. We don't want to talk about that. Everybody wants to talk about the dust. Everyone wants to talk about the chaos. Everyone wants to talk about the cancer. And so until the culture shifts, or until there's just so much dust that now your mouth is drier than after you try to eat 2 Church's chicken biscuits and you just can't take it anymore, we're not going to get to the solutions. Like, these people just haven't had enough biscuit in their mouth, and they need more biscuit. They're going to have them dry mouths.
You trying to kill somebody?
What are we talking here? Biscuits in the mouth? I mean, what's going on?
Oh yeah, they're getting these biscuits. They
need more sweet tea, man.
Ray, they're fat eggs, sir.
I mean, that too. And I mean, maybe after, but the deal is, maybe they'll go outside and start taking a walk. They'll get themselves together. They'll get right, and then they too will become the best versions of themselves and go get what they truly deserve and want.
Reckless.
I mean, that's the best we can hope for. But, like, you know what? I got high expectations. If Kelly Rowland ends up in a Keke Palmer dress, that's gonna break me, bro. I'm gonna be done. I'm gonna be done with American women. Period, bro. It's over. If they get Kelly,
you made some great points, and I just want to add to one of them. You said she respects her man, but she also respects herself.
Bars.
Yeah.
Bars. Facts. I did leave that off. Thank you.
Last but not least, Bass. Okay.
So I can't really say if she's a good wife, because I haven't really seen her. I don't follow her. I don't follow celebs like that. I can say that she's a humble woman. I've heard that she was in a toxic relationship. Whack. And so the fact that she's even being so open with her husband, before they were married, so shows the amount of trust she has in her man, and the fact that he can share his mother with her shows
what do you mean by
how healthy their relationship is.
What do you mean by that?
What the hell? Why are you looking like that?
I'm curious.
Like that.
I'm curious. Like, you keep saying, like, she said it. Now you're saying it. I want to hear from a woman. What does it mean when a man says, what are you hearing when a man says, I want to share my mother with you? Because to me, that's just fucking
hearing.
Weird. But it's just weird to me. But what are you hearing?
We ain't talking about no damn incest, man. Like,
no, not that. It's just I've never heard that before. It's just I've never heard that before, so it's kind of off to me.
Okay, the thing is, if she has a toxic mother,
okay,
she has not had a good mother figure in her life. That's what he's sharing with her. A mother to give her, she can go to with and ask for guidance on certain things that you can only talk to your mom about. She doesn't have that.
Okay, so if they were to be married, wouldn't
Yeah.
he be sharing his mother with her anyway?
But no. This is the conversation. This is what he did for her before they got married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
This is
my chick
part-
right now talks to my mother more than I do.
Yeah, this is part of him giving her something that you just can't buy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Something that's dear to him as well.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about what you're saying is it's also what she said she was in need of, and that's the most important thing that we're missing. She said that that was absent in her life. So him providing what's absent, I think, is a very key quality.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah, that's the part I missed. That she said that that's something she was missing in her life.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then now I get it.
Okay.
He was emotionally intelligent.
Yes, he
If
was.
you got that in your talking points bingo, you can check that one off tonight.
Check it. Check. I love it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was emotionally intelligent. Yeah, gotcha. And that's something that a lot of guys, Scam Likely and I, say that all the time. Emotional intelligence, relationship skills, critical thinking, proper articulation. I mean,
active listening.
Active listening. Thank you. That's another one here. Scam Likely and I preach all the time, but people don't listen, and they come out worse the next day than they did the night before we were telling them what to work on. And it's like, yo, you're not even trying.
They said that's what a woman. They said that's what a woman would say. What is that?
Wow.
Right. Exactly. And then they wonder why they can't attract women.
You ever thought about listening to the woman when she was talking?
Wow. Women talk?
No, you don't need to listen to what she I say. And it's just like, that's not going to work, man.
That's funny.
At all.
I mean, can we add as well to emotional intelligence, emotional maturity? Because boy, that's missing in people. I won't say men, I won't say women. It's missing in people. And just because you've grown, just because you've grown, don't make you mature.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, you have to be emotionally mature to be emotionally,
intelligent.
Books can make you emotionally intelligent.
No,
you can go to school and get emotional intelligence.
They ain't teaching that.
Not maturity. Maturity is something that you apply. Intelligence is something you learn.
Yeah, we're all on the same page indirectly.
I think. I think so. In terms of good examples, right? I think I was looking at a picture of Magic Johnson and wife, Michael Jordan and wife. What do you call him? Samuel Jackson and wife. I think there's one more person, right? I was looking at that picture and I was like, yeah, this is not a draggable picture. We can't drag this picture, right?
You're right.
It's not entertaining. There's no sadness. There's nothing coming out. No drama. You know, I was looking at it, that's kind of sad. There's more than enough example if truly we crave for that. And we're not saying they're perfect. We're just talking about in terms of unsung examples. Not that they're perfect. They have insights they can share. These people have been together for decades. They can, including Michael Jordan, who has been together with the wife for at least 2 decades. I think it's the second wife, second marriage, right? But we don't want to talk about that. We're waiting for the next episode from Will Smith.
No, we're waiting on one of them damn dresses.
In fairness, we spoke about both of those relationships. Michael Jordan, as you said, had a divorce. He had a child out of wedlock, and we did speak about it. Magic Johnson had HIV, and we did speak about it. But
what do you mean? What do you mean we? What do you mean we?
Meaning the society.
Yeah,
public.
The greater society.
It was definitely spoken about. But to your point, the women sustained and went beyond and stayed in there despite those dramatic experiences.
That's true. Well, listen to what, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to wrap it up.
Yes, sir.
I thought this was a pretty good show. I thought I was a fantastic host, and I look forward to seeing y'all next week as your host.
Andrew, you frozen?
Huh? No. Anyway. Unlike you and like you and most other people, my internet doesn't freeze up.
I'm going to thaw you out like some sweet peas.
I look forward to being here and having you all look at me next week and every other week in perpetuity. This is now my channel. Thank you very much. And go to my other one.
Okay. All right.
Now that was Sir. Now made a prestige. That was Sir Hill doing.
Oh wow!
I could tell because your hands was like this.
Yeah, you're right. That was Sir Hill's too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's too much.
Let's get final thoughts real quick for everybody. Let's start with Lost in Translation and move on to Men of Prestige. On the Reckless, then BAS, Scam Likely, then Sean. Lost in Translation.
All right, my last and final thought is to make sure that you listen to each other. You know, it's so underrated in a day and time where people want to say what they want to say. Sometimes there's art in listening to what the other person has to say, and then when you listen to them, reiterate what they said to make sure that you're on the same path. So that way you're not lost in translation. You heard exactly what they said and you confirm exactly what they said. And make sure that you take each other as much as possible. Listen to each other. And if you need to borrow, someone's mother or father, as the case may be, let them do that. Always make sure that you share your family members. And make sure to remember when you marry somebody, that person becomes a part of your family and everybody comes together. So it's everybody's job to help each other from time to time. But I'm saying, keep everybody at your business. But at the same time, if they need help, let them feel free to be a part of their family as well too. So that's my final thought. Be good to each other. That's it.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much for that. We're gonna move right on over to Man of Prestige.
All right, can you hear me? Mic check.
That's right.
All right, good. All right, so yeah, this was a good one, man. Mandel, you did a fantastic job. Okay, we miss Sir Hill. But this was a good one. Good to see the family again. Shout out to the brothers. Shout out to Sean. Nice meeting you, bro. Shout out to the panel. Shout out to the chat. And for the person, I thought this was a good panel and a good discussion. It was concise. We got I learned a lot today. I think for the person who said the panel that Sir Hill should change it, your papa. Right, let's leave that at that, right? And then for as far as Mindrell coming back next week, I think we need to go check out what's the other platform again. Can you say that name again real quick? The Big Picture.
The Big Picture, yep.
I'm looking forward to that, man. But today I really had a good time. All right. Thank you. Shout out to all the panelists again. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Man of Prestige. And if you guys incidentally go over to Man of Prestige channel, fantastic content over there. Lost in Translation also, he has a YouTube channel. It's called Lost in Translation. Man of Prestige channel is called Man of Prestige. Check these two brothers out. Also, another man with a YouTube channel with fire content, Reckless Ray De Niro.
Allegedly, respectfully.
Right.
Allegedly, there's content over there. I'm not going to confirm nor deny that. I'm going to retain my Fifth Amendment right, and I'm just gonna get into my final thoughts. So, as I've said, as we all know, God hates a lot of you, and I would probably try to get out of his peer view because you might wake up tomorrow with a flat tire. You could walk out of your room and stub your toe on the door jamb, the pinky toe. That's the toe specifically when you rip that one almost off your foot that lets you know that God hates you. If you're catching that pinky toe on stuff, there is an agent that has been sent specifically to remind you and reiterate God's disdain for your life choices, the way that you exist. Doesn't like it. Be a better reflection for those of you who believe in God. For those of you who don't, the universe hates you. And I tell you this because as you're running down the hall crying, you will still catch that pinky toe, even with your shoe on the door jamb. And that's the universe telling you with force and vigor and vitriol, that it doesn't like you. It doesn't like the way that you're representing its existence. And for those of you who don't believe in the universe, your cells hate you. And the reason this is because you are comprised of cells. You're made of stardust. And those things that you're comprised of actually don't like the way that you're existing either. If animals are regularly chasing you, it's because nature hates you. And we've got to do better. So when we come to these panels and we have these discussions, I'm trying to take the focus off of what the losers are doing. We're focusing on winners only. We're only focusing on things that work. We're looking for solutions. We're trying to be the best representation of ourselves, whatever that is. It doesn't mean everybody's got to be like me. I'm built a little bit different than most of you because God loves me and I'm highly favored. But that said, not everybody's going to be able to be like me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, those of you who have a bunch of kids, you know that some of them little bastards you don't like as much as the other ones. And that's okay. They should still be the best kids that they can be. You know what I'm saying? They're just constantly looking for that approval, looking for that favor, trying to work their way up in the rankings because hierarchies exist. And unfortunately, we live in a bunch of them. So do the best that you can to be the best version of yourself that you can. And, you know, hopefully, as God scans his eyes across the world, he takes note of that. And he lets some good stuff happen to you in your life. I've never seen anyone who's actually truly put forth an effort at anything that didn't accomplish something. And we're going to leave that out. We're going to leave it at that. We're going to close it out on, if we're trying to be winners, then why are we focusing on what the losers are doing? Winners only, reckless, rated, narrow, and I'm out.
Ladies and gentlemen, this show just took another turn.
No, it didn't. See, we gave him such a compliment.
Wow. That was great.
Nice.
Eric hates you. God dang.
There's some people out there, the people who are born in North Korea, I don't know what they did in their former life, but God hates them.
The heck out of them. Hates the heck out of them. They don't want them to have food.
Yeah, exactly. Y'all don't understand. Like, bro. Y'all really don't know just how bad. Anyway, that's another subject. Yeah. It's horrible. That is hell on earth, literally. But BAS or Bass or Lady in Texas, whatever. Final thoughts, please. Thank you.
What I always say is have honest and open, honest communication. You have to listen more, talk less. You know, no one's perfect. I've had the misfortune of messing up, not making sure I was on the same page as the person I was talking to. So, y'all gave them a little look. But I apologized. So be humble also. Apologize for your mistakes. And yeah, that's about it.
All right. Now we have the one and only Scam Likely, host of the popular show The Dustosphere, exclusively on the Black Men Unfiltered Network. Scam Likely, educator.
Ladies and gentlemen, over a couple of years of evaluation, doing lots of blood pressure and evaluations and listening to these conversations, I've noticed that the men at a 72.6% ratio have gotten dustier. A lot of the women have also gotten dustier and crustier and even mustier. You can smell them through the screen. People have been having these conversations and they just decided they're not going to listen. We said lose weight, go to the gym, working on emotional intelligence, communication skills, setting expectations, burning the YouTube talking points. And the people just looked back at me and they said, no, we're not going to do that. So I created the Troll Illuminati. I created the Dustosphere, and it just is what it is. And unfortunately, someone is actually going to wear that damn dress. And then YouTube, women's, all the men's is. Whoa, I hate everybody. By 2027, we're going to be blaming the kids, all the kids. Accountability. Men say that no, we don't want it. It's a hot potato. We're going to blame single moms for everything. If I hear people blaming single moms for anything else, ladies and gentlemen, it is what it is. Dust and crust. Have a good night.
It is dust. I can't front because I'm so Sean. You and I haven't really talked in earnest about what I think my perspective is on this whole thing, but we will.
Please.
Yeah, it ain't pretty. But anyway, Sean, close us out, man. What are your final
Wow,
thoughts?
that's hilarious. My final thoughts. Wow. Relationships, they all take work. And if only the woman is willing to work, it will fail. If only the man is willing to work, it will fail. If you get in a relationship or choose to be in a relationship, then you are choosing to be selfless. And you're setting aside your selfishness. And if that's the case, then embrace that wholeheartedly, not conveniently. You can't be selfless when it's transactional, as we said earlier, and selfish when it's convenient. And unfortunately, people haven't embraced that whole concept. So, we will continue to have failed relationships as long as we don't understand that relationships take work. And if in fact you're not willing to put in the work, don't get in them. Stay single. I have a song. It used to be I'm Just a Bachelor. Now it's I'm living the single life. And that's because I don't want the responsibilities if someone isn't going to match my efforts in sustaining a relationship. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you get in a relationship, you relinquish your selfishness. If you do not, then stay selfish all you want. God be with you. And as Reckless said, the world will hate you. But it doesn't matter. If you want to be hated, if you want to be loved, that's your prerogative. And how you approach it is your prerogative as well. But I just think that we all are saying that if you want that love that you so claim you want, put the work in and the effort to receive it, not just acknowledging and getting the privileges that come along with the love. Put in the effort and take the responsibility that it takes to sustain that love. And I'll leave it there. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Mandrill, for having me up. Thank you, everybody on the panel. It was insightful. I really enjoyed these conversations. They're humorous, they're insightful, and they're the ability to broaden our perspective is, I think, the key to us all. And I think we all get a broader perspective once we listen to each other. So peace.
All right. Thank you very much, Sean. Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for tuning in tonight and hanging in with us. I know it's a little unorthodox without seeing, the other guy who got fired on the show hosting. This new guy. I mean, I know it's much more pleasant to stare at the screen this time. And you're welcome for that. Thank my parents for my superior genetics. Okay? So, yeah. You what you want. I mean, these genes are superior to most, if not all.
Cap.
Now,
wow.
Ladies, when it comes to things like this, I think Men of Prestige, he stuck up the most when he said, nothing worth having. I think he and Sean both said it. Nothing worth having does not come with duty. Nothing worth having doesn't come without sacrifice. If you get something and it's too easy, you accept it. Be worried.
I can hear you, Mandrell.
Mandrell, you're fading out, man.
We can
Am I really?
Is it automatically adjusting your mic volume over there, man? God get you?
God
God
don't
hating you right now?
God
don't like ugly.
Might not even work. That's exactly what I'm saying, Mandrell. Get it together.
Well, since my mic is going out, okay, I'm going to close the show out.
Don't talk smack.
I wasn't talking smack. I was just trying to teach a lesson. You know, to the ladies. People, all men and women, stop adopting these counterproductive ideologies of me, I. If you're in a relationship with someone and it's a serious one and you're working towards marriage, your entire relationship should be about the other person. And the other person should be about you. That's how it works. That's the ebb and flow. One hand washes the other, and both hands wash the face. Night, everybody.
Good night.
May I have your attention? May I please have your attention? Super Sundays. Yeah, baby. We're back at it again. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's get it. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Sir Hill Speaks Super Sundays. I'm glad that you're here. I wanted to take a moment to tell you guys how much I appreciate you. We've been doing these shows for months now, and you guys have been showing up consistently as we take on and we tackle different challenges and different topics. So I appreciate it. But here's what we're trying to do going forward. We want to grow this audience to people who need to hear content like this. And so we need your help. How can you help us? That's a fantastic question. Be sure to make sure you hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell for all of the content that we have, particularly Super Sundays. All right, guys, sit back, relax, enjoy. Make sure you invite somebody to Sir Hill Speaks Super Sundays. We're getting ready to go in. We're going to have a good time. Happy Sunday, everybody. Let's get to the show.